Hello, and welcome to the American Family Insurance Dream Bank, where we believe in the transformative power of dreams. My name is Eric Lopez, and I am a dream curator here at DreamBank. And on behalf of our team, we're glad to have you with us. For those of you who have attended our virtual or in person events in the past, welcome back. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, I'd love to take a moment to introduce DreamBank. Here at American Family Insurance, we believe communities are stronger and the future is brighter when people are actively pursuing their dreams. That's why we created DreamBank, an inspirational community destination and digital experience dedicated to dreamers everywhere. From our daily event series to immersive signature programs, there's something for every dreamer. Our offerings are designed to help you create the dream journey, to help you celebrate the dream journey, overcome obstacles, and stay motivated. Before we begin today's event, I want to invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn to be sure you're in the know for DreamBank's upcoming events, including our signature program experiences. Now, I'd like to introduce to you our speakers from the Literacy Network. Alejandra Muñoz Contreras is a student services manager and manages Literacy Network's enrollment processes and the student services staff, which offers academic support and advising to Literacy Network students. Ale has been a staff member at the Literacy Network for more than 5 years and started as a student more than 7 years ago. Marie Simpson is a lead ESL instructor and teaches many ESL classes and develops curricula, including the successful vaccine education curriculum. Marie started volunteering at the Literacy Network 12 years ago and has been a staff member for 6 years. Lastly, Jeff Burkhart is the executive director and has more than 20 years of experience in program management and is responsible for the overall direction of the Literacy Network. He has worked at Literacy Network for 13 years. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll let you take it from here.
Thank you so much, Eric. It's such a pleasure to be able to be here with all of you. Thanks to all of you for tuning in, and thanks to the American Family Dream Bank for helping us to spread the news about the work that we're doing and hopefully help other organizations in the community to better understand how to build trusted relationships with your clients, your customers, students, etc., people you serve. So we at Literacy Network help adult learners with reading, writing, and language skills. Most of our students are non-native English speakers, so they are working on their English skills with us. And many of our students have had a really rough time during the pandemic. And so one of the things that we tried to do was really figure out better ways that we could support our students during this really challenging time over the last 20 months or so. And so we're going to talk about some of the things that we've learned during this period of time. We're very excited to see our students continuing to persevere, to work on their skills, to continue to be connected to Literacy Network and to their tutors and their teachers. So here is a quote from one of our students, Annabelle. She said, "I really appreciate that they truly want to help people. It's not just a job for them. You can see that." She said this last year when we were interviewing students about their experiences with the pandemic. And you can see that we did interviews outside with several students and made a few videos that you can see on our YouTube page. Annabelle is one of the students who's featured there. And I think Annabelle's sentiments are pretty close to what a lot of students feel, that they felt supported during this really challenging time in their lives, not just in their reading, writing, and language skills, but also in basic needs. And so we really help to support students through some of those rough times. Excuse me. So one of the things that we learned was we built trust and strengthened our relationships through making regular connections with students, providing them with the support that they needed through these challenging times. We're going to talk about three kind of primary areas here today, and I'm going to let Ale talk about these on the next slide here. One of the things that we did was we built communities. So this happened before the pandemic for sure, but I think things really solidified quite a bit during the pandemic and up to present day, showing that our students really care about them, we expressed concern about their well-being, about their basic resources, and we helped them to connect to the basic resources that they needed. We were very consistent through that period of time as well, and we continue to be, keeping things as similar as they were before the pandemic. Of course, we were all in our own homes and using Zoom and making phone calls, but keeping the times of things the same really helped a lot with our students as well. And then also addressing those emergent needs that our students had. So kind of trying to become resource specialists ourselves in a lot of different areas that we hadn't really had a lot of experience with before. But being that trusted resource really helped our students. So I'm going to turn it over to Ale right now to talk about the response that the Student Services team had during the pandemic. So we're going to go to Ale on this next slide here.
Sorry if I say something wrong because I'm so nervous, but I try to do my best. I'm Alejandra from Student Services Manager. And then when the pandemic started, our Student Services team immediately began contacting the students to ask what they needed because this pandemic changed our life in different ways. We offer help with studying home because our students kind of afraid to lose the studies, sorry, because this pandemic, but we adapted to the pandemic to doing classes online and we continue to do it. This pandemic now stop us. And we help from other organizations. We get help from other organizations. We available to offer help with the resources and information depending what our students they needed. Um, Student Services team made up more than 2,000 weekly calls the last year. Some of the information that our student asked to us was rent assistance, jobs, food, healthcare access, including vaccine and childcare, and any other needs they experienced due to the COVID-19. Just one second, let me change. Learners focus. Our mission expanded because our students needed more help. Like I said before, we help our other students. We help our students get help from other not-profit organization, and we give you the most information that we can. We try to do our best ever. And then the next slideshow, my colleague Marie, they can talk a little bit more about it.
Hi, thank you, Ale. So at the start of the pandemic, of course, we knew right away that it was going to be really important to us as an organization to be sort of the metaphorical lotus in the storm for our learners, to be that consistent and reliable presence in a world that's kind of turned upside down. Our students experienced so much instability. And we wanted to be just the face of something that was unchanging. So one of our directors actually used a great metaphor here, being like ducks on the water. We were paddling furiously underneath the surface, but outwardly we were the same friendly duck. We wanted to look the same on the outside, even though we really worked very, very hard to keep things the same. So staying consistent for our learners meant keeping class times and instructors, tutors very consistent, using the same textbooks. So students got to continue using what they already had, or we mailed them out to them if they needed a new one. And we also never missed a week in connecting with each learner. So even before we started virtual instruction on Zoom, in that period when we had to end classes, but before we started a new semester, instructors and tutors connected with students individually every single week. We would call every single student on our list to review materials answer questions, practice grammar, and also assign the next week's materials. And it was a really great way to make sure that we didn't lose anyone, that they knew that we were thinking about them and that we were staying in touch and going to continue to provide the services that they were already receiving. And this dedication to consistency really carried our learners and our organization through, this challenging year of unknowns. So after nearly a year of doing distance learning, in spring 2021, vaccines were becoming available, as was a bevy of misinformation about vaccines, and also confusion about how to access them and who could get one and that sort of thing. So in April of this year, we surveyed learners and found out that they were accessing the COVID-19 vaccines at lower rates than the Dane County average. So Dane County average was 38%. Our learners were accessing the vaccine at 26%, so quite a bit lower. And of course, there were various reasons why our learners were accessing vaccines at different rates, including uncertainty about safety and effectiveness, worries about immigration status, or lack of knowledge about where to even go to get a vaccine. So we surveyed students, we asked what questions they had, we got a lot of responses, many of them very common questions like, is the vaccine safe? Do I need insurance? Can children get the vaccine? And we used that information to make a curriculum. So we responded to those survey results pretty quickly. There was a tight turnaround here because we knew that people needed this information as soon as possible. So we delivered a vaccine curriculum that consisted of 3 mini lessons that were given between April and June of this year. So our 96 vaccine education sessions consisted of those 3 lessons delivered in our 32 existing classes and tutoring programs. So every student who was in a program, whether it was a class or tutoring, had the opportunity to receive this information. The mini lessons reached over 400 adult learners during that 2-month time period. And average attendance was 248 adult learners per lesson. And a lot of students attended more than one lesson just because they were getting the lesson during, a class that they were already taking. So they didn't have to do anything extra. So when surveyed, we found, some sort of great results from this lesson, from this curriculum, was that when we surveyed students in June, we found that the vaccination rate amongst learners had increased to nearly 80%. So, and that was roughly the same Dane County average, same as the Dane County average. So talking about some highlights here, one great result from the vaccine curriculum was observed in our level 3 English class. They did a lot of extra stuff to engage with this curriculum. And that included, meeting with so we had a reporter from Wisconsin Public Radio come to our class, and she interviewed students about their experiences with the vaccine, personal stories, how vaccines would impact their communities. And they even had one student that they featured in their story. And he was able to share kind of, what was going on in his community, how people felt about it. He shared his own story, which was that at first he didn't think he needed the vaccine because he was young and healthy, but he learned in class that that wasn't the case. And he was also seeing in the news that young people were still getting COVID. So he changed his mind. And ended up getting the shot and was able to talk with WPR about that experience. So, as we said, these lessons were taught in all of our programs. I taught the vaccine curriculum personally in 4 different classes, and I was always surprised at how engaged learners were with the material, because it's a lot of more complicated stuff, and it's also a controversial topic. So you never really know how those are going to go. But I found that students really were very open to sharing their questions and experiences very candidly with me and with other students in the class. And we learned a lot from each other. It wasn't just this top-down information system. It was people sharing, and word of mouth amongst our learners is extremely important. So, and then we found that all summer after this curriculum was implemented, students would pop into class at the beginning of class and very proudly announce that they got their first shot or their second shot, and they would share what that experience was like with other students. And I think that also increased the comfort level amongst our learners with getting it, just from hearing from their peers how it went, in addition to the accurate information they were getting from the lessons. And I believe that the curriculum was so successful because the information was coming from trusted teachers and tutors. And, students felt more comfortable making decisions about the vaccine because they felt more comfortable asking questions. And it just, that trust that already existed between the learners and the tutors and the teachers just gave more weight to the information that they were receiving in class. And our survey results really reflect how those lessons were a deciding factor for many students, because our numbers really shifted in our survey results, which I think we're going to talk about later. So now I'll hand it back to Ale.
Thank you, Marie, for talking about persistence. For me, we never give up because Literacy Network students continue working hard toward their goals, no matter what they happen now, and we are going to help them every time we can. About 80% of our students re-enrolled, and more than 100 new students enrolled the current semester. Some learners from goals that we have it that every student had is get a better job, get a promotion and or raise, help children with homework, talk to the children's teachers, talk to the doctors, ask for help in the stores, meet new friends in the community, and we are going to help them to reach these goals. We give it a hand whenever it's possible, and then we try to do our best in here in Literacy Network. And I try, and then this slide is for my colleague Jeff.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And thanks to both Marie and to Alejandra for their hard work to support our students through this challenging time. Marie was the person who developed the curriculum for the vaccine education. And Ale has just been such a great resource for all of our students. She is one of the most trusted people here at Literacy Network for our students by far, because she interacts with virtually all of our students when they come in for the first time. She sees them pretty regularly at the front of the building when they walk in. And so I want to just express my deep gratitude for both Marie and Ale for their hard work and support of our students. I want to talk a little bit about what our students kind of what things look like last year, and the demographics of our students. So we have an annual report that you can view online. You can see the website there on our slide here. This information all comes from that. We actually had a decrease of about 25% in the number of students and the number of hours in 2020, probably similar to what a lot of other organizations faced. We did manage to maintain or kind of regain the numbers by the end of the year, up to about 90% of pre-pandemic levels. in terms of student enrollment, but we definitely saw a reduction in the numbers of students, the number of people who were getting promotions, because a lot of people lost their jobs during that period of time. But we were able to maintain all of our programs. We kept all of our staff on board, and we were able to also maintain most of our volunteers as well. As you can see, 296 volunteers. That's compared to about 400 in a typical year, 400 to 500 even in an average year. But you can see there that the average number of hours per volunteer was 36, which is a pretty good number when you consider that we had to really shift things very quickly. And we still saw a lot of our students accessing their citizenship, becoming high school graduates. And also, even though we had several people who were laid off or lost their jobs entirely, we saw that several people got promotions as well, and some also got raises. So those numbers, while they weren't as high as previous years, we were still able to maintain the services and the supports that we had in place during the pandemic, which was a pretty phenomenal feat, given that we, for most of the year, did not have any in-person programming at all. And I want to show you, I don't know if you can see the slide well, it may be a little bit small on your screen, but the average ages of our students, we wanted to kind of talk about that. So most of our students are kind of in the range of 35 to 54. As you can see there, all of our students are adults, and we are working with people mostly who are parents. And you can see that there's a large number of Latinx students as well as many women. So about 2/3 of our students are women. And you can also see there that the annual income of our students is, most of our students are below the $24,000 level. And we do ask students about their current income. So we try and primarily serve people of low income and support them in increasing their earnings by increasing their literacy skills. With that, I would like to just say thank you so much for tuning in today. And again, thanks to our wonderful staff for making those connections with our students to help provide them with the support that they needed through a really challenging time. One of the things that when we talked about persistence, that really shows in terms of the ability of our students to connect and to remain connected to their tutors and to the organization, is that we are regularly contacting them, and we're finding that our students really appreciate the offer of support and the encouragement that our student services team provides, and that our staff in general have been helping with by making sure that we're very focused on the students' goals. So I think that's one of the key elements of how we've managed to build those trusted relationships through this pandemic and beyond, for sure. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, or if you have questions for Maria or Alejandra, I'm sure they would be happy to answer questions too.
All right, thank you so much. Hello. So I'm looking here in the chat, and I do not see any questions right now, but I do have some of my own questions that I wrote down as you guys were talking. If you don't mind asking, at what time are your classes?
Ale, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we have at different times, mostly in the morning, afternoon, in the evening. Sometimes it's kind of like 2 days a week for 1 hour and a half, or 1 day a week for 2 hours. And also we have sometimes we have weekends, like the Saturday only, on the side, and also online classes. And then we try to adapt it to our students, like what is her schedule. And then sometimes if they need a letter from us to tell the employee they want to take classes with us, we made it also.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And then I guess another question I have is I'm curious, how many instructors do you have, to help all these students? Because you guys have quite a few students.
So we have several part-time instructors as well as full-time instructors. think that we probably, in terms of teachers, we have, Marie, would you say we have about 7 regular instructors?
Yeah, we have, I'm not sure the exact number, but 7 sounds about right for like regular instructors. And then we have a group of part-time instructors who kind of fill in as needed.
And then, of course, we also offer support to our volunteers who tutor students one-on-one. And so we have a group of program leaders who plan lessons each week, and they support a group of 8 student learner tutor pairs rather, and they are planning those lessons based on the goals of their students. And we have 11 of those programs for ESL, and then also 3 for adult basic education, or what we call the Essentials program. And we collaborate a lot with Madison College as well to ensure that students have opportunities at the college. We offer tutoring for students who are enrolled in their School of Academic Advancement programming, so that they are better able to connect to a certificate or a degree program. And we're really excited to see that partnership. We also partner with the Madison Libraries quite a bit in various different locations to provide classes for English language learners throughout the community.
Perfect. Thank you, Seth. Thank you so much. All right. Well, since I see that we don't have any questions coming in from the audience as of right now, I guess we can go ahead and wrap up. I just want to take this moment to thank you all for joining us, and thank you to you, Marie, Jeff, and Ale, for being here with us today and for telling us about some of the classes, services, as well as the successes you've had with some of the students that have participated. Here at DreamBank, we truly believe in the power of dreams and celebrate that our community is made up of fearless dreamers. To all who tuned in, thank you for joining us. We look forward to continuing to learn, grow, and dream together. You can learn more about upcoming DreamBank events and content designed with your dreams in mind at ampam.com/DreamBank, and by connecting with us on our social media channels. On behalf of American Family Insurance and DreamBank, we look forward to hosting you again soon. Until then, keep dreaming fearlessly. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.